Saturn is the lord of time and karma.
Within the esoteric system, he remains the dweller on the threshold. Through 30 or 33-year cycles, Saturn governs an individual's earthly responsibilities, karmic debts, those inherited from previous incarnations, and the soul's tribulations within the material world. A soul that has not integrated its Saturn return cannot ascend to a higher state of consciousness. The Jupiter cycle operates in 12-year intervals. However, the most significant is the third cycle, occurring around the age of 36. By this stage, the initial Saturnian trials have concluded. Unlike Saturn, Jupiter does not coerce. Rather, it tests through abundance and comfort. It does not remind one not to tread on the grass. It assumes these lessons were mastered under Saturn's stern gaze. While Jupiter is inherently benefic, one must remain vigilant against the ego. Mastery is not the destruction of the ego, but rather its proper governance. In psychology, we identify the ID, ego, and superego, yet in a spiritual context, the primary adversary is the arrogant ego, which no spiritual law condones. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the transpersonal transformers. Their influence is collective and mass-oriented. In 2026, they will serve as catalysts for a mass awakening. As they transition into new signs, we enter a 20-year period of radical intellectual acceleration. While artificial intelligence has laid the foundation, it is merely the beginning. We shall witness extraordinary discoveries in physics, as the boundary between science and metaphysics dissolves. Modern science is not necessarily advanced science in the ultimate sense. However, metaphysics and occultism are reclaiming their place in academia, as seen with the postgraduate degrees in occult science now offered at the University of Exeter. Between 2011 and 2025, Neptune traversed Pisces, a period defined by the victim archetype, spiritual confusion, and the passive longing for a savior. This era concludes in February 2026. As Neptune enters Aries, we transition into a cycle of spiritual will. The time for mere dreaming has passed. We are entering a phase where visions must be courageously manifested into reality. The simultaneous transit of these three giants, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, is often termed the Great Reset, or the New Symphony of the Soul. With Uranus in Gemini, air/mind, Neptune in its mental faculty, and Pluto in Aquarius, intellect, they function like perfectly synchronized gears in a celestial machine. This is why esoteric astrology is often called true astrology. It views the heavens not as a tool for mundane prediction, but as a map for the soul's evolution. It asks, why am I here, and what is my soul seeking to learn? While virtues are essential, they are not the entirety of this journey. They represent a significant portion of it. By this, I mean that beyond simply being a good person, we must commit to our mental and intellectual development, regardless of whether our profession is inherently mental or not. To clarify, intellectual growth is not confined to meditation or metaphysical practices. It necessitates an active engagement with science, art, and philosophy. Human life is composed of fateful periods that move in harmony with the rhythm of the colossal gears in the heavens. In esoteric astrology, every planetary cycle is a designated time frame for the soul to learn a specific lesson or cross a threshold. Saturn completes its orbit every 30 years. This is the Saturn return, the most significant karmic threshold in a human life. It is often the most arduous path. An individual must strive to exercise their personal will and effort before reaching the age of 42. If left until then, the process becomes considerably more difficult. The first return, age 30, marks the conclusion of childhood and youth, and the commencement of true responsibility. It is the soul's trial of standing on its own feet within the material realm. The second return, age 60, the transition into the stage of wisdom. It is a period for harvesting the fruits of life and establishing spiritual authority. Notably, some souls reach wisdom by age 33, while others may not achieve it even by 60. This variation stems from the development level of their previous incarnations. The Jupiter cycle represents expansion and opportunity. While it recurs every 12 years, at ages 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, the third return at age 36 is the most pivotal, often manifesting as a significant leap in one's career. It tests the soul's relationship with knowledge and abundance. Unlike Saturn, it is not restrictive or oppressive, yet the trial continues as evolution must always move forward. The Uranus cycle, 84 years, its most critical phase is the Uranus-Uranus opposition, around ages 40 to 42. This corresponds to the midlife crisis, a staggering awakening where the soul asks, "Who am I truly?" and seeks liberation from societal molds. The Chiron cycle, the wounded healer, occurring at age 50, this is the time to confront one's deepest spiritual wounds and transmute them into wisdom. The lunar nodes, every 18 years, these provide a karmic balancing point between the south node, past karma, and the north node, the soul's purpose in this life. In the Sufi tradition, the journey of the soul is depicted through the 7 levels of the nefs, a process of refinement from a raw state to maturity. Nefs-i-amr, the commanding self, the lowest stage, where one is a captive to worldly desires, egoism, and primal impulses without remorse. Nefs-i-levvaim, the self-accusing self, the stage of awakening where the conscience stirs, and one feels regret for their shortcomings. Nefs-i-mulheim, the inspired self, where the heart begins to receive divine glimpses and the capacity to discern between right and wrong flourishes. Nefs-i-radai, the pleased self, where the seeker is content with whatever God decrees, whether it be perceived as good or ill. Nefs-i-mardai, the pleasing self, the stage where the divine is pleased with the servant, and the individual is enveloped in divine love. Nefs-i-kamali, the perfected self, the pinnacle of purity where the ego is entirely refined, and only the manifestations of the truth, al-haq, remain. The Saturn return, age 30/60ths, the first return marks the end of youth and the onset of true accountability. One must strive to exercise personal will before the age of 42. The second return at 60 represents the transition into wisdom. The Jupiter return, age 36, a pivotal moment for career advancement and visionary growth. It tests our relationship with knowledge and prosperity. The Uranus opposition, age 42, often termed the midlife crisis, this is a profound awakening where we ask, "Who am I truly?" and break free from societal molds. The Chiron cycle, age 50, the wounded healer cycle, a time to face our deepest spiritual wounds and transmute them into wisdom. Ultimately, we are not merely subjects of the stars. We are the consciousnesses that direct these stellar energies. If you view a challenging Saturn aspect as bad luck, you remain in the realm of mundane astrology. But if you view it as an initiation chosen by the soul to learn discipline, you have ascended to esoteric consciousness. Each of these cycles provides the energetic impetus required for the soul to transition from one level of the nefs to the next. Please make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. And if you'd like to go the extra mile in supporting the channel, the join button is now live.